another week of classroom management by design for the primary teacher. Thank you again for being here and just taking the time to improve your classroom management and just gain more knowledge. So if you don't know me, I am Lauren Beacon. I am the founder of Lesson Plan Toolbox, where we help primary teachers master classroom management easily and consistently. And with over 20 years of experience, I can tell you that I have learned that promoting responsibility and independence in your students is going to be one of those magical pieces to effective classroom management. And that's what we're going to talk about this week. Creating a classroom environment where students are empowered to take ownership of their actions, and not only is going to foster just a positive learning atmosphere, but also prepare students for future success, which is exactly what you want to do in your classroom. We forget about the impact that we make every single day in our students, and I'm telling you, hindsight being what it is, 2020, wow, the things we instill in our students now, they carry with them well into adulthood. Okay, so today I'm going to share with you strategies for classroom jobs, encouraging self-regulation, and just developing a student responsibility chart. You're going to kind of get the steps to create your own chart. The techniques are designed to help you cultivate a sense of responsibility and independence among your students, right? You kind of want to be the guide on the side, not necessarily the authoritative role. We want to make you that guide on the side. We want just to create a culture in your classroom where everything just kind of starts to flow and you are just showing up, but your students have the active roles in the classroom. How do we do this? Well, first, let's talk about classroom jobs, right? Assigning classroom jobs is an extraordinarily effective way to give your students that sense of ownership and responsibility in your classroom. And really, they love it. They love having that responsibility. Classroom jobs, they teach students valuable lessons such as teamwork, accountability, and time management. All of those are great factors to instill in our youngest of learners, okay? Classroom jobs also help create this collaborative and supportive classroom community. This is where that culture is going to come together by assigning these roles and responsibilities in your classrooms. So I'm going to give you, if you're kind of clueless on what jobs to have, I'm going to give you some strategies for assigning the jobs first, okay? So first and foremost, you need to identify appropriate jobs. What are the daily tasks that you have in your room? So identify the tasks that need to be done on a daily basis, such as taking attendance to the office. That's a big one. Students love doing that. Passing out materials, or cleaning up the classroom, right? Those are all things that can be done daily and they can be done by your students. Next, consider rotating the jobs on a weekly basis. So you've identified the jobs. We want to rotate these jobs on a weekly basis to give all students the opportunity to participate and learn the different skills that go with each job. And some jobs they love more than others. But they have to kind of go with it, right? This is our community and all these pieces need to be filled even if we don't want to do it. So you can also design your jobs where you match them with students' abilities. It's like a skill-based assignment, right? So you assign jobs based on students' abilities and strengths. For example, a student who is amazing at organizing, they might be the person who you have responsible and accountable for managing your classroom supplies and passing out your materials. You can have that person or people be your go-to group if you want. It doesn't necessarily, you can design it how you want to, okay? We're going to get into how you can design this in a second. You want to, though, ensure that all students, regardless of their abilities, have the opportunity to participate and contribute in these classroom jobs. Okay? Best way to organize this is to create a job chart. What does this look like? You want to display a simple job chart in your classroom where students can see their assigned tasks. And the younger they are, you probably are going to make this far more visual. The older they get and they can read, maybe you use words and pictures. But you want to use visuals and colors to make it engaging and easy for them to understand, right? Get your students involved. Seek their input. Involve them in creating the job chart to increase their investment and their enthusiasm. Maybe you have a little committee and they do this for you at the beginning of the year. You don't have to do it. Have your students do this. And I'm thinking more for this first, second, third grade. Kindergarten, preschool, you might have to design the chart yourself or design it with them. So many great benefits when you have your classroom jobs figured out, okay? Your students are learning to take the responsibility for their assigned tasks, and they understand the importance of contributing to the classroom community, the community as a whole. From there, you can grow it to, now let's take care of our school community. Now what can we do for our local community, right? But start with building your classroom community first. When your students are regularly completing these jobs, this is helping them create that self-confidence and independence, right? They are realizing that they're capable of contributing in other manners to this community. Working together to complete these tasks, it's fostering a sense of teamwork and collaboration within your students. And that's where that strong community culture piece is going to come into play, okay? The other huge component of why we want to establish these jobs in our classroom is because it's promoting self-regulation, which is their ability to manage their emotions, to manage their behaviors, and to manage their thoughts in different situations. The student behavior scenario of the day cards are a great tool to use to foster these skills, but also giving them these tasks in your community, in your classroom, are another way to do this, right? Encouraging the self-regulation in your students, it's crucial for maintaining that well-managed classroom and promoting that positive behavior. And again, doing it this way is so awesome because although the student behavior scenario of the day cards are cool because you can talk about it, this is actually them doing it, okay? So let's talk about some techniques for encouraging the self-regulation. You have to lead by example. Demonstrate self-regulation through your actions. Show your students how to stay calm, how to be focused and positive in various situations. And as you're going through it, explain to them, right? Which is the second piece of this. Verbalize your thought process. Share your thought process as best you can with your students to help them understand how to approach challenges and even make decisions in your classroom. You also want to show them that, yes, you get frustrated, that human side of you, right? And that's why when you're talking to them about this, be very honest with them. You know what? This hurt my feelings. Or when this happened, I did get upset, but did you see how I reacted in that situation? Have that conversation. The next thing you can do is incorporate mindfulness practices such as deep breathing, meditation, or yoga into your daily routine. Why are these important? Because these activities are going to help your students develop self-awareness and control. It's that whole mind-body connection, and inside our community, we're actually getting into the mind-body connection and how so much of that can play a role in classroom management, okay? The next thing we want to do is teach our students to recognize and label their emotions. Use emotion charts or journals and help them to express and manage their feelings. These IPPY kids, if you don't know what I'm talking about here, it's inside our community. Great tool to get the whole conversation going on emotions and thoughts and how our thoughts have meanings, okay? The next thing you want to do is designate a calm down area, right? So set up a space in your room, call it the calm down area, quiet corner, whatever you want to call it, but this is a place where students can go to regulate when they feel overwhelmed. You want to include things such as a stress ball, maybe some coloring books and crayons, because that can be very therapeutic for some students. And maybe even have like a little tablet or something where they can listen to soft music, right? But you want to provide them with some of the tools so that way they know when they're feeling these big emotions, they have a place to go and it's safe, okay? The next thing you want to do for self-regulation is provide your students with strategies for calming them down, such as counting to 10, taking a deep breath, or even visualizing a peaceful place. And inside our community, we teach you more in depth on how to do this. This is just, a general idea that you can Google if you want to, or if you want to join our community, we get into the specifics on how to do this with your students. So next up, let's talk about emotional control, okay? Students who can regulate their emotions are far better equipped to handle challenges and conflicts when they arise. They understand the give and take and compromising that needs to happen in situations, okay? Self-regulated students, they can maintain focus and attention during lessons and activities for longer periods of time. So that's another plus why we want to promote the self-regulation, and having these assigned jobs is giving them the starting tools to move towards this, okay? When we're doing this, we also want to encourage positive behavior, because self-regulation reduces instances of disruptive behavior, and it's going to create, again, that positive classroom culture that you are looking for. But you have to praise the positive so that way you see more and more of those desired behaviors. And it could just be a verbal word. It's not necessarily tangible rewards, okay? So, let's talk now about the purpose of a responsibility chart. A student responsibility chart is simply a tool that helps students understand and track their responsibilities. It serves as a visual reminder of what tasks they are responsible and accountable for. And it also encourages accountability. Maybe once they complete it, they walk over and put a check mark. That way you know and they know that their job is done. Great way to do that. I'm going to give you now steps to create the responsibility chart. And again, this might be something you want to go back and read, so feel free to look at the blog post to get the visual. But if you're an auditory learner, we're going to walk through it right now, okay? First thing we want to do is identify responsibilities. So this is where you're going to list the various classroom jobs and responsibilities that need to be assigned, right? Identify those daily, weekly tasks that you can have your students do. You don't have to worry about it because they are going to be the ones handling these tasks, okay? Include personal responsibilities. This would be something like completing homework, following classroom rules, and participating in activities, class participation. Include that. Have that be a part of this. It's really going to help you with your classroom management. When you design the chart itself, you want to design it so it's visually appealing, right? Make the chart visibly appealing using colors, images, clear labels. Use a large enough size chart that can be displayed prominently in your classroom and your students can see it from afar. They shouldn't all have to be huddled up on top of it to see what their jobs are, okay? This might be like a full, bulletin board if you make it big enough. Another thing when you're designing your chart you might want to consider is adding your students' photos next to their assigned tasks to personalize the chart. It just makes it a little homier looking rather than just, the traditional names and stuff. Put their faces by their responsibilities, okay? Huge step. We don't want to skip this one. You have to introduce the purpose of the chart to your students. You have to discuss the purpose of the responsibility with your students and explain how this chart is going to be used every single day in your classroom. Do not skip that step. It's so easy to do, and we just assume our students know. They might not know. You have to kind of take the time to go through it step by step. Once you've introduced it, then you assign the responsibilities based on student strengths and interests. Ensure that every student has a role. Now, you might not have, if you have 30 students, you might not have 30 jobs. However, you can tag team students if you want, or just tell them, this week it's going to be group A, next week is group B, and you might even have a group C depending on this class size, okay? You definitely also want to review the chart with your students regularly, have these check-ins to make sure that responsibilities are being fulfilled. Then make adjustments as needed. If they are not doing their job, we're passing this on to somebody else. Or I'm going to pull a student from group B because they can handle this responsibility and can show me appropriate behavior. Don't be afraid to have those conversations. Lighten them up. Encourage your students to give you feedback on the chart and encourage them to give you suggestions on any changes or improvements that need to be made. You might be thinking, oh wow, this is going really well, and they might even have a better idea that we can incorporate, or another job. You know what, Ms. Began? Why don't I be in charge of putting all the Chromebooks away? I can be the tech person. That could be my job. Totally, you'd be amazed at the ideas students come up with, okay? So you utilize them. Students become more accountable for their actions and tasks. That's what we want. We want this accountability. And that is really going to come through when they have specific jobs assigned to them. Using this responsibility chart, it's going to help develop those organizational skills, which is so great in these littlest of learners because, again, they're going to carry these skills with them well into their upper years, okay? So now let's kind of switch gears and talk about positive reinforcement. Acknowledging completed responsibilities reinforces positive behavior and it motivates the students. You don't have to, again, give them tangible rewards, but just say, wow, thank you so much for doing that without me having to ask. When you're saying that over and over again, your students are going to want to complete these tasks without you even reminding them, okay? So let me talk about some activities for assigning classroom jobs. This is when you are like, okay, this person's going to do this person's going to do this. One super fun way is to have a job fair in your classroom. And all you do is you hold a job fair where your students can learn about the different classroom jobs that are available. You might have just cute little graphics and they rotate to different centers, and if they can read on their own, they can read about it. Or if you have little ones, you're going to talk about it maybe one a day, okay? Then you can have students fill out job applications stating which jobs they're interested in and why they would be good at them. This is such a great strategy to teach them like the future of this is how you apply for a job, right? They're going to remember this when they get older. Make it fun, stress-free, but yeah, let them tap into their interests and see what they want to apply to be. The next thing you want to do is have a training session. How do you do this? You simply provide training sessions for each job to ensure the students understand their responsibilities. If you're in a building where maybe you have 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th graders, have them come down and then they can talk about, train them, like this is what the job is, and then have them talk about that role. If you have previous students that you've taught, bring them in. Let them be the guest speaker. Oh, I love doing this job because you get to... The next thing you can consider doing is role playing. And again, you could take a job a day, do some role playing. If you apply for this job, this is what's going to be entailed, okay? As far far as the mindfulness parts of our routine, right? Every single day, you're going to want to incorporate short mindful moments into your daily routine, such as that deep breathing or the guided meditations. And this is just going to shift the energy in your classroom when you need it, but it's also going to make them mindful. And I would do this at the beginning of the day. These are the tasks that I have to complete today, and their assigned role is one of those tasks. The next thing you might consider doing is set aside time each day for students to reflect on just how are they feeling. And again, I would do this at the beginning of the day. Start them out strong. Talk about, okay, we have our jobs. Now we have to make sure that we're doing our jobs. Start the day with a quick emotion check-in where students can share with you. Just, you know what, are you feeling great today? Give me a 1. If you're feeling so-so, give me a 2. If you're not so great, give me a 3. Quick emotion check-in. You could possibly use an emotion charts and have students, put like a clothespin or some type of marker next to how they're feeling. That's another way to do it. They could do that right when they come in the morning, and then you have a quick reference. Oh boy, Tony isn't feeling so hot today, so let me check in with him. Okay. If you create a student responsibility chart, here's what this could look like in your classroom. Again, I would totally, if I have first, second, even kindergarten students, I would totally involve them in this process. Discuss what the responsibilities should be and included and how the chart should look. This would be for those responsibilities such as completing homework, following classroom rules, things like that, okay? You can totally take this activity and turn it into an art project where your students are the ones who decorate and personalize the chart. You might do the writing on it, but have them come up with, okay, now let's make this look great for our classroom. Have them do it. You don't have to buy anything. Utilize your students. Every week you want to hold a weekly review session, and this is probably self-explanatory. It's where your students are going to reflect on their responsibilities and discuss any challenges that they face. And it might be challenges in your classroom, it might be challenges with other students, it might be stuff going on at home, but kind of set aside time. And they don't have to share it out loud, just allow them to have a mental check-in. We don't do this enough, and we need to. Okay, the next thing we want to do in this whole process is encourage your students to set goals for improving their performance and their assigned responsibilities. Now that I know what my job is, what my responsibilities are in this classroom, how do I get better at this? And this could be something when you're giving them that weekly check-in that they cover there, okay? This didn't go well this week, so what do I need to do to change this? I forgot my homework twice this week. What was going on at home that led me not to bring my homework to school? How can I change this? And what you're doing is you're making the behavior intrinsic. They're taking the ownership, and that's why this is so magical. Assigning jobs and responsibility, they go hand in hand. Hopefully you're seeing that. By giving them the specific tasks, you are instilling in them that you are relying on them to complete this task for this community. Along with that, you should see, go hand in hand, is their responsibility, such as the homework, the behavior, meeting your expectations, will also increase, okay? Which means your misbehaviors will decrease. You're going to see them want to do better for you. You're going to see them love the praise that you're going to give them. And again, it does not have to be tangible. Just using your words to reiterate, wow, thank you so much. I completely forgot about that today, and I love that you remembered taking your responsibilities seriously. Okay? Okay, I am going to leave that here. Again, inside our community, we get far more in depth into the mind-body connection and into these specific roles and responsibilities and how to foster this culture of just positivity in your classroom. So if you want information on how to get into our community, let me know. I do want to tell you about, we have been doing this Classroom Management by Design summer series. I believe this is week 9 when you're watching this. We are doing a 5-day Classroom Management Success Challenge. Every single day, you'll just get a small task to do to set yourself up for classroom management success. And believe it or not, there's so much you can do right now that will put you leaps and bounds ahead before you head back to school in the fall. So we can get parts and pieces in place now, and then when you are back in your classroom and getting, the students involved in this, you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead because you're going to already know, these are my expectations, these are my values, and here is how I want to guide them towards coming up with our classroom procedures, our classroom contract, whatever it is. I always did classroom manners because to me, if they had strong manners, everything you put on classroom rules, they're pretty much classroom manners, okay? So I don't like using the word rules. I like using responsibility, accountability, and again, I always said manners, okay? So we are going to do a 5-day challenge. Super excited about this. If you want information, I'm going to have it in the blog post, of course. You can always email me, lessonplantoolbox44119@gmail.com, and I can send you the Google Form sign-up sheet. But every single day, we're going to start with vision and values. We're going to go into roles and responsibilities, expectations, and even behavior, misbehavior. What do we do? How do we address misbehavior in our classroom? So that is going to be inside the membership every single day. There will be a giveaway. The grand prize giveaway on day 5 is going to be a year-long membership inside our classroom management, Mastering Classroom Management for the Primary Teacher. And you are not going to be the only one to get the membership. This is going to be for all of the primary teachers in your building. 1 year, you would get a membership inside our community where you have access to telling us your classroom management challenges, and then we provide the videos and the feedbacks, and once a week, you get the feedback video to help you improve your classroom management. So that is where we're headed. On top of that, we're also getting ready to teach the master class. It's a 3-day master class on Teach from the Inside Out, where it's the mind-body connection and how to improve classroom management by focusing on the mind and the body. We get into that inside our community big time. I'm going to do a synopsis of it and have it be a three-part master class. And then it's just amazing. We teach this through the social cognitive functions of memory, imagination, perception, will, intuition, and I'm forgetting one, but that's okay. You understand. Memory, that's the other one. So yeah, that's how we're gonna take each one of those components, give you kind of an overview, and then inside our community, we go even further with, okay, here is part of the mind, and here's how you can teach lessons about this or teach through using these components and adding small tweaks to your already established lesson plans just to get this mind-body component in. And I'm telling you, wow, the teachers who have done this already and have learned about the IPPY kids and instilling this in their students have just loved it. So that is where we're headed. That's what's coming next. Thank you for being here. Come back next week where we will have another segment of our Classroom Management by Design series. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you. I don't say it enough. I try to say it every single video, but I know I don't say it enough. What you are doing for your students and the fact that you are in education in this day and age is just huge. You are making such an impact, and you probably don't even realize the effects you're having. And I don't say that lightly. I hope you take your role very seriously. Anything we can do to help you lighten your load as a teacher in the classroom in the 21st century, reach out to us, let us know. We are here to serve you and help you live your best teacher life and create a little community in your classroom where not only you want to show up to every day, but so do those little people in your room, in your assignment. Okay, until next week, we'll talk to you soon.